8:12. Let's go to the phones. We have Minority Senator Jim Moylan on the line. Good morning, Senator. Wanted to get you on. I don't know. Are you protesting again this morning?
Hello, Senator Moylan. Are you there?
Hi. Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Good. Right on.
Still protesting, or you're good?
Yes.
You
No.
are.
This morning I will be protesting at 9:00. So we do have a session scheduled tomorrow for 10:00, and it will be at Session Hall. And I think we're going to practice our distancing and have our gloves on and our mask as well, and our own microphones too. But the reason I'll be out this morning is to emphasize what I've been trying to point out, taking care of those that are unemployed. So we can have session, but what bills are going to be heard is uncertain. So there's an attempt to bring up different bills. That's possible. And we know there's probably going to be bills that are pressing that support what the governor is trying to achieve with her executive orders. But my protest will be, let's remember those that are unemployed in the private sectors, the now 7,000 and unemployed, and another 7,000 that have lost their hours. So it will be one more day of protest.
One more day. You know, have you received the agenda yet?
No, I have not received the agenda.
When do you guys usually receive the agenda for session? Is it usually
for the minority? My experience is when I sit down behind my desk.
Oh, okay. Because I was just reading the.
How about if you're in? When do you get the agenda if you're in?
I was reading.
I'm sure way before I do.
I was reading the letter. Actually, this is reiterating the March 27th letter from Senator Regine Biscoe-Lee. And it says, talks about requiring advanced submission of all amendments.
Yes.
In advance of the start of session. So, having read that, would it be safe to assume that you would be getting an agenda, so you would be able to submit your amendments to whatever bills are going to be discussed on session?
Yeah, that's a logical assumption, and I would think that should be correct. I don't have an agenda as of now, but I'm just reviewing the bills that were submitted and kind of predicting which ones will get to the floor based on who introduced the bills and how many people are supporting the bills and how it relates to what the governor wishes to see for her request to now have the legislature come into session, which we were premature before, but now I guess we are not. So based on what we're hearing on the media, and thank you for all your reports, and what we're seeing coming out of Guadalupe and the new bills that we're seeing being introduced, you can kind of have an assumption of what will be on the floor. So our office is preparing our amendments to make that happen. And as soon as we do, I'm sure we'll let you know the changes that we'd like to see done to different bills, if those are the ones that do make it to the floor.
What's the conversation like, Senator? Because if you guys are going into session tomorrow, I'm pretty sure you've got a lot of your colleagues who are fighting to get their measures onto the agenda. What has the discussion been like? Are they getting the time of day, or does it appear that we're only going to get called together to give the governor more superpowers?
Yeah, those are internal meetings that I am not welcome to or haven't had an invitation to. So just like you folks, I'm sure we're assuming different bills that will make to the floor.
What do you think, though, Senator?
Probably 334 regarding making it a misdemeanor for not enforcing the executive order and the charge of $5,000 and possible imprisonment if they don't follow the executive order, giving that authority, which the governor does not have today, to her to enforce these things, as she was advised by the Attorney General's office, and therefore the governor is saying need the legislature to come in and do legislation for that purpose. So that bill was already introduced, and possibly 335 also regarding the purchasing and the procurement of supplies and taking over different things if the governor so needs it for the safety of the people, which some of the parts of the bill are okay, but I can see where, because of our fundamental rights also, I'm not in agreement with. I can understand where we need
Senator, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but just real quick,
Yeah.
speed trap at DMV. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Which is a speed trap, and that and that is interesting. We can start already enforcing just by the laws that we have in place today.
Yes.
You got a cracked windshield, your tail light is out, you're speeding, you ran a stop sign. It's amazing. We used to hear these reports before this COVID-19 came out, just pulling over people regularly for these simple traffic stops. There's an open container, there's
crack pipe
on the floor,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's all there. And then, for those that just made a simple, I did a California stop instead of a full stop, but I got pulled over. And what the police, our GPD, is doing now, which I think is an excellent job, reminding them, if it's not necessary for you to be on the road, then please go home. And here's why. Versus, the Gestapo way, and let me see your papers and
the papers, please.
Yeah, right. And so that's not what I'm in favor of. I think the education part is very helpful. It's surprising that some folks may still not understand the social distancing part. But if you're pulled over in a car and the police officer tells you it's better you go home than stay on the road because of this, that kind of instills a more sense of urgency to, maybe I'll do it because I don't want to get pulled over again. Or I got this one ticket because my driver's license is expired and I don't have current registration or insurance. I don't want to get another ticket for the same thing, right? So it would instill something into us to really just pay attention to the law, which we're supposed to do anyways, rather than having something, a $5,000 fine, a misdemeanor, and the possibility of going to jail. Because we know we can't afford something like that, and we don't want to overburden our prisons with that either. But at the same time, we just want to really emphasize to the public to stay home, and it's costing the government so much money for everybody to stay home as well. And with the greater emphasis, maybe they'll get the point. So that's what I'm thinking in line of. Not additional removing of people's fundamental rights, but just enforcing what's already on the books. And I think that's a good idea. They're out there doing the stops, the speed point checks, and reminding people what they should do, and that stay home versus Gestapo papers, please.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm wondering now if, and I'm going to play a clip after we get off the phone with you from the governor about the omnipresence of the Guam Police Department. You know what I'm kind of wondering now, Senator, is if the governor is already getting creative and telling her cabinet, namely the chief of police, what she needs to be done. And, the chief of police, I'm pretty sure it's a two-way conversation where he's saying this is what we can do. I'm kind of wondering, are these measures that the governor is really haggling on the senators to pass, if they're even necessary, if the governor's already using the authority that she has to get creative and kind of, they can't do a checkpoint, but for all intents and purposes, when I play this clip, they are doing checkpoints, so.
Right, and citing you for what's currently on the law.
Right.
Broken tail light, expired this, speeding. Those are good things, and that should continue even after we get past this point, and to make our roads safer and people be aware that the police are out there enforcing the laws that makes our community safe.
We got to ask you about, so I know that you and the speaker and Senator Mary Torres were in this conference with Congressman Michael Nicholas. He floated out the two plans, the public and the private, which I thought was, good in that we haven't seen a lot of plans to get local assistance, so I appreciated that. But it looks like when the speaker and then maybe ran these plans of the flagpole, the banks and the retirement fund were, essentially like, oh hell no. Mm-hmm. So is that dead in the water, Senator?
We did receive responses from the retirement and also the banks. And at the time when the congressman did invite us, and the reason he invited the three of us was we were on the last conference call with him. Right.
And which was Friday, right, at 1:00?
No, there was one before that, I think.
I thought it was Friday at 1:00. That's what tell us. But go ahead.
Yeah, at 1:00. There was one at 1:00, right. And so he just extended that invitation to us again.
That was kind of weird, don't you think? I mean, here you are, you're always talking about how you're not included in everything, and then you go to a press conference where the other people aren't being included in it.
Right? It's like, wow, I feel special this time. Thank you.
Is that what it is with you and Mike? It makes you feel special?
It's like, oh, wow, thanks.
There's a back rub, Senator Jim.
I finally got picked before the end of the line to be part of the team. Nice. but so I appreciated that, and I did ask some questions, but I saw those as thinking outside of the box,
right,
and which I didn't consider. And so I appreciated that. At least that was a couple of new ideas that we can look at.
Yeah.
We had no advance notice of what he was proposing.
Right.
And so we took our notes and then we vented it. And he's right. It's like, I didn't or the congressman is correct. I didn't go out and research all this. I got to focus on being a congressman. But this is something you guys could check out.
Right.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't,
And that's what I'm thinking, Senator, as if it was just as simple as that, like, hey, this is something you guys can check out. I don't think the grandstanding really matched. Now people are saying, oh, there was an over-promising. But just real quick, so now that we had the main players in the game have said, we don't want to play this. This is not how we play. Is it just dead? Are we still going to try and get the Guam Banking Association, the retirement fund? Because I'm hearing that the Guam Banking Association voted unanimously to reject the congressman's proposal. So is it just done, or are we on to the next?
Tomorrow during session, it's going to be.
Is there going to be like a surprise? Hey, guess what? Retirement
waive
fund.
Public hearing requirements.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to introduce a bill that wouldn't have the support of either side necessarily, right?
Sure.
I can see if they were just trying to, if it wasn't in, let's say from Guadalupe, if it's not in their interest, then maybe that's something else. But if those that we're asking to, here's a law, here's a bill, and you can implement this, and they're telling me already the reasons that it's not going to work unless you do this, and
right.
this. Well, then I should address what their issues are, provide that support, and then introduce it.
Yeah, but I think in this case, what they're saying is like to even begin addressing it, it would take way longer than the federal systems would already.
There's
be
no software,
right?
Yeah,
and hopefully
the
by
volume.
that time, through the diligence of our local agencies,
right.
DOL and DRT, we'll have that federal money coming in by then. So
right.
It was an idea, and we looked into it, and at this point, it doesn't seem to be working. It doesn't seem to be the exact answer.
Right. Yeah, but you know what, Senator, ideas grow on trees, and I know the congressman has a lot of ideas. So, and you and your colleagues, I mean, ideas all day. So, there's more where that came from. But
right.
Just wanted to put in a plea here on behalf of my media partner, Sabrina. I know you have a good relationship with the congressman. This time of COVID-19, whatever differences he has with KUAM News. We feel that we are bringing the biggest audience out here, and that's because we're getting the information out. And we just know you're close. If you could just get in the congressman's ear and tell him get over it. This is a time of crisis. This is a time that we need to come together. And if he has plans or ideas or information that he wants the people of Guam to know, then he has to come to a place that has the biggest audience. And it's not, just tell him get over it, put on his big boy pants. And if he needs, if he wants a platform, my God, Senator Moylan, we will clear the way, and we'll let him on the air and let him say what he's got to say. I mean, after he says that, he might have to answer some questions, which I think is what he has a problem with. Yeah. But hey, you're here, aren't you? Are you alive? Did you die? No.
Right.
And I think I spoke with you the night before the Zoom conference.
Right. And it's just awkward because we're cool, right? And it's just weird when you're cool with people and you have mutual you're not cool. Yeah. So we're like talking through you to Congressman, and then with Senator Mary Torres, who is the Congressman's brother's mother-in-law. We had reached out to her and said, "Hey, how do we get in this Zoom?" And she was like, "Oh, you got to call the Congressman." Yeah. So I mean, you guys got pull. I mean, it's frankly, it's ridiculous. And this is the last time we're really going to ask because I think this is a time where we got to put all this petty bull crap to the
Aside.
side. We really do. And the congressman is doing things in D.C. that we think the people need to know about. So I'm just going to stop here. Just get over it. So call him up and tell him get over it, Mike. It really is to his benefit, and it's to our benefit as well. So
the people's benefit.
yeah,
I tried calling.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I
and
could
they were
have
just
done.
rude.
WhatsApp.
It was just rude.
Even to the point where it was about to begin, and I kept calling, and all they did was hang up on me.
Yeah.
Like
and Senator, that's how serious. And Sabrina, I know you don't really want to talk about this, but that's how serious she is about her passion to get the people the information they need to know. I mean, in a normal situation, any other reporter would be like, you know what, screw the congressman. Oh, he doesn't want to call. No, but she was up to the last minute calling the congressman's staff. They were declining her call. She called about 20, 30 times, Senator. 20 to 30 times. And you mean to tell me that the congressman is that petty that he is going to sit there and tell his staff to ignore KUAM? It's just really, really, man, this time that we're going through right now, that's just so uncalled for. And I don't know how he finds the energy to be so petty. So that's all.
Oh, all right. And I pretty much probably say, just like myself, there's ears everywhere. So I think your point was well taken and heard. All the way as far as the East Coast. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, so I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure ears are listening,
right.
And your request is probably there.
Okay.
Whatever reasons there are, I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
But I do want to support you folks and what you're doing, and I appreciate the information getting on out there.
Yeah, we're cool. All right.
And I think that's pretty good.
Well, good luck, and
good luck.
Keep us posted.
All right, alrighty.
Okay, well, Senator.
God bless.
Enjoy your protest. Wash your hands.
All right, I will.
He's saying.
There you go, Republican Senator Jim Moylan, who has been protesting the last few days. There was a picture I saw in the speaker's chat, and the speaker, the minority, they've had their share of issues and differences, but it was a picture of the speaker, Tina Munia Barnes, meeting with Senator Jim Moylan outside the Guam Congress Hall while he was protesting about the legislature's inaction on unemployment assistance. She was bringing him a glass of water.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was like, aw. Yeah, you want to show that, sir?
Make sure there's nothing else popping up there. What else is there? That's the picture.
Isn't that cute?
That's cute.
So we talked with Senator Moylan about the governor getting creative with the authority that she does have, and I wanted to play this clip about the Guam Police Department and what the governor has asked the chief of police to do to help mitigate people driving around going crazy.
Provide guidance and provide education to these drivers, Kevin.
Problems?
Yeah, it's
Rusty.
I'm not rusty. This is the internet.
So yeah, I think one of the questions was from a reporter asking what was going on with police, pulling over people. I don't get out much. I only go here and back to work, so I'm not sure what's going on. I don't see any police officers.
That's how it should be.
Pulling
you know
over
what I mean?
people.
So you do that, and I do that. I go from here. I mean, the only place I stop on the way home is either stop at Payless Mangilao or 7 Day, just to kind of get a couple things, and so I haven't seen this omnipresent force, but I agree with it. I think that, and I kind of want to pat the governor on the back for getting creative and figuring out what she has to do. And I like that she's not just putting it on. I mean, she kind of is just putting it on the senators, but I like that she's putting it on the senators, but she's also finding a way to fill the gap. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And ironically, after that press conference, later on, sometime I got a release from GPD that they're conducting a DWI checkpoints starting the 9th through the 30th through, Agana, Barragata, Tumon. I mean, I'm not sure people are out, drinking and partying, but, they are doing these DWI checkpoints to ensure.
But you know what I think it is?
Safety.
I think that they're setting up these DWI checkpoints as a way to catch the traffic and to then, when they do the checkpoint, they're
what are you
checking
doing?
Yeah,
you should be at home.
Yeah.
So
And
get
that's
ready
good.
for that. You
Right.
should stay home anyway.
Let me ask you, Bree, so if we're going to be doing that, do you think it's necessary for these senators to jump through the hoops and pass like $5,000 penalties and all that stuff? Or do you think, or even the curfew measure? I mean,
I think, people are being stupid and they're still
Yeah,
out there in the
yeah.
community. I mean, I'm more concerned about bills that are going to help people while they wait or while we wait for federal assistance. I think that's more immediate.
yeah.
People are going hungry. We hear about it every day. Our phones blow up with messages, and all we can tell them is to go apply
Yeah.
at public health or call the phone numbers, call 311, and then then we get the phone calls that no one's answering. So
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. With the governor, we keep asking this question. I have a feeling they're about to kick Nestor out of these press conferences because he asked again yesterday and he was very, very impassioned. And he
I
said,
asked, you asked, Nestor asked, and
right,
all the other
media
reporters
are
have
asking.
asked.
Yeah, and the steady response from the governor is go apply for food stamps. But what we're hearing is
She's got to balance,